we are going to hear from Sue herself. She's going to talk about the eclipse.
Thank you. Yes, in a sense, it's a phrase, but it does relate to the eclipses. Eclipse your past. Now's the time. So eclipse your path. Now's the time. You know, Charlie Parker said, "Now's the time" by Charlie Parker. It's a great jazz tune, and it's really Uranus also, because Uranus in vibrational astrology is totally committed to the idea that the present moment is all that matters. The past, the present, the future, nope. And that's, I think, why it's so revolutionary, because we have all these attachments and we have all these projections, yet we forget, sometimes easily so, to look at the moment. It seems so mundane, although the mundane is very valuable. There it is, right there. It's Earth, and the moon is eclipsing, and the suns are eclipsing. Victor Hugo has a quote: "Nations like stars are entitled to eclipse. All is well, provided the light returns, and the eclipse does not become endless night. Dawn and resurrection are synonymous. The reappearance of the light is the same as the survival of the soul." I don't think I could have said it better myself. Thank you, Victor Hugo. Because eclipses really represent this transitional point. It is that entire process, and this happens to be a solar eclipse, and that's the same as a new moon. And as other astrologers have explained, the nodes, these path points between the moon and the sun that represent our ego and our emotional heritage of being, because we are emotional beings. This makes us gloriously human. We have feelings. Could say that's why we incarnate, is to get that sense of depth, of connecting to Earth and bridging the gap between heavens and Earth, because like many mythologists believe, there's people holding up the sky with their feet. In fact, and I'm going to go a little bit further on that thought, in Guatemala, the ceiba tree, I went there in 2012, just after the calendar was supposed to break down, right? And it didn't. One of the many times it doesn't, but things keep spinning. And the tree is their national tree. And it represents the trunk as the person, with the branches going to the heavens and the roots to the earth. I think we'd be so much better off. So here you see in all nationalities, if we recognize that idea more, eclipses have a shifting point when the node, which has been explained, this meeting point, that's what node means, with the astrological sign of the sun and the moon, and within certain degrees. For a solar, it's 12 degrees. For a lunar, it's 18 degrees. It gets very faint at 18 degrees. Astronomically, they have whole names about it, and we have a lot to learn in that regard. There's total, there's annular. I could go on and on about this, but I'm not really trying to teach about eclipses. Here you see how it's beginning and ending, and it can go over many hours. It's a transition, just like a butterfly happening. And we are having that one on the 24th here in the mainland of the United States, and the 25th, as Israel noted, in Europe. And as others have commented, there are two pairs. They always come 2 weeks apart, but yet 6 months apart, the two pairs. Sometimes there's 5 because we have a calendar year, but really it's this double pair. So it's solar eclipse on the new moon, that time when you really don't see the moon, and it's an astronomical event that there's lots to learn about, when the Earth is between the two, or else the moon is between. In this case, the moon is sitting right smack dab in front of the sun, and so it goes away. We don't get that light. Things are really quiet. 2017 in Idaho, I was privileged to go there and witness this extraordinary event when it really does stop. There's a moment of stillness that is unearthly. And then when it comes back, there's this burst of just laughter and joy. It's instinctive. And for those folks that are willing and able, on the 8th or the 9th, depending in April, you'll get to see that one, because it's crossing the United States again, going down, crisscrossing the path before. This one, it's going to be like a cross, if you look at it that way. So a lunar eclipse is on the full moon, when the rays of the Earth, the sun setting, because there's the prism of light separates for frequency, And the red lights of the tide of the sun setting reflect on the moon, making it red. And of course, we can interpret that so many ways, depending on our perspective, right? It could be bloodthirsty in some ways, yet blood is also what feeds us, what goes through our body, and it's what pumps through that heart that we love. So it's really a matter of changing what we think into love. Time to reboot, recharge. In fact, you could say it's a rebirth, just like everything else we've been talking about. I love this little cartoon of a person. Here it's a man, but man, female, people lifting old time of this with the Sith death, you could say, the death of an ending and having a new beginning. As the cosmos is, this is a vortex. There's vortexes everywhere. That's like being in the ocean when you have a centrifugal whirlpool, a tide. It's all these motions happening that just suck you right in, like a black hole, perhaps. Re-exchanging, taking in all the light, bursting it out again as we keep continually reinventing the universe and our life. Because once again, like Hermes, the Hermetic code, how we reflect, we're there standing between earth and sky, bridging the gap. And that's what we're trying to do now through eons of time. Lightning does the same thing. In this case, Uranus and Jupiter are friends to lightning. Jupiter is often said to be the god of lightning. I just read the Odyssey with Jason Hawley, and it's all about lightning. And I thought, gee, I thought Uranus was lightning. Well, they borrowed this. But because it's so primal, that's where fire comes from. Besides the fact that we have it with an earth, both we share fire. But it splits the universe, what we see, and immediately we see a new vision of something that, because of the lack of light, just like a strobe light, and then the flash of light, flash, bam, alakazam, we contemplate and maybe recognize something that sticks in our memory that we hadn't seen before. It's the immediate moment at hand, Uranus. It's change. It's what we're all about. It's about choice. Yes, that old death, that figure, that face that we have been taught to fear, that actually is just the bones and skeleton of our being that we're trying to adapt all our other parts to move in this earth, like Earth herself, of the tree of life. We have choices. Our nodes right now are giving us choices every moment. For those of us that are relationally driven, I have the moon in Libra, the south node, and Neptune and Quarar, the rebirth, all there in the first house, pumping out, going, make a decision, make a decision. And on the other hand, I have Aries with Sedna, thankfully, going, forget it. I got your plan. You're going to see the whole script now, and you're going to have to live it. And Eris is on top of it saying, include, 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 nothing to exclude. You have free will choice. It really gets down to that root of who are we? What's our little seed? And we do reflect others. My tree is going to be different than another tree, but yet together we compost and we make this earth along with the seeds for others to grow. So time's morphing. Makes me almost cry. It just brings up all this wellness of life within me. It's so beautiful. And Dali, the great surrealist, with his morphing clock. Einstein, with energies never destroyed, it only gets redeveloped. Time is timeless. Now's the Time by Charlie Parker. It's our moment. We're going forward. There's no holding back. And I don't know where I heard this, but I absolutely adore it. I tuck it away in my purse because push come to shove, I'm shoving around trying to find something. And I come across this paper. And of course, I've forgotten, but now it's been so many years. I remember, my memory. Control nothing. Create everything. It's a task, yet in its glory, it brings back that love. Because when you're creating, you want to give, just like the sun shining to people. You want to share. You want to experience. It's that diversity that we're going into. So, Talk Cosmos, glad to present. Very glad that Danny and Justin asked me to contribute. I'm going to sign off before I cry. Thank you.